The latest intel coming from the intelligence community is that al-Qaeda has managed to develop a new type of explosive which can go undetected by traditional explosive detectors, as it is liquid and can be twined on clothes. We called upon our experts to find out how serious of a threat this is. Dr. Shlomo Shapiro from the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies at Bar-Ilan University says we should be cautious to call the liquid explosives only an al-Qaeda propaganda scheme.
The real achievement of al-Qaeda's rumored liquid explosive is the fact that we're standing here talking about it. Every time they come up with a new piece of propaganda or a new plot, they obtain international media headlines. And so they continue their war of propaganda to cover up for their lack of other activities. We have to remember that Western intelligence services and authorities were quite successful in foiling a lot of plots in recent years. On the other hand, I would be cautious from just naming it a propaganda coup, because they would lose credibility if they don't really have anything to back it up. So there's two ways of looking at it: pure propaganda or a real threat. And I think we should take both seriously.
Retired IDF Colonel Itai Shelach, who works today for global security expert company Defensive Shield, claims liquid explosives is far from being an al-Qaeda invention.
So we know, let's say, that liquid explosives exist in the hands of some nations. We also know that liquid explosives are something that can be made domestically. The big news in this case is the ability of terror organizations to take this liquid explosive material and put it into cloths, fabrics, and to transform it later on, or even during the process, into something harmful and active. And this thing actually creates a situation where, for instance, any type of clothing or dress of a passenger, someone passing by, can be transformed theoretically or perhaps even practically into a type of walking human bomb.
Dr. Shlomo Shapiro elaborates the probability of a liquid explosive bomb not being detected.
Even if a piece of clothes is soaked with liquid explosive, it still needs a detonator and the whole detonation mechanism. You must have a battery. Normally you would have a cell phone or some other type of device. So there's got to be metal there. There's metal wires, a battery, some metal leads. It's impossible to detonate something just by leaving a shirt or a piece of underpants, no matter what it's soaked in somewhere. So bombs will still be detectable.
The head of the INS Middle East Military Balance Project, Iftach Shapir, fails to see what the big fuss around the latest report is.
How much explosive can you put on a shirt? Okay, it can't weigh more than the shirt itself, okay? 200 grams, 500 grams. We've seen worse than that. I mean, of course, every explosion is bad, every terrorist attack is bad, but spreading out the fear that there is something new that would enable them to beat us, it's very, very far from that.
Everybody keeps talking about al-Qaeda needing to recuperate from losing its leader, but Dr. Shapiro claims that they didn't have to recuperate, as the structure of the organization is not built on one leader.
Al-Qaeda as an organization didn't suffer much from the killing of Osama bin Laden, since he was really out of the picture for many years, living quite secluded in his villa in Pakistan. Al-Qaeda is really a network and not an organization, so losing one individual person, however important he or she might be, is not a major problem. Their problem is that in the 12 years since the 9/11 attacks in the US, intelligence services have been very successful in intercepting their communications. Recent reports about this conference call between 20 leaders of al-Qaeda all over the world that was intercepted, that is a big blow for al-Qaeda. They can't trust telephones anymore, they can't trust email or the internet, so it's very difficult for them to communicate effectively and secretly. If you cannot communicate, you can't plan effective terrorist attacks.
So according to our expert, the threat, this newly developed liquid explosive, is predominantly in the publicity it's going to get and not in the actual harm it might do. For Jane 1, I'm Ron Jacobson in Jerusalem.